topic. It deserves it deserves its own space.
No, I agree with you completely. You know, it got my. I don't mean to break a train here, but I wonder if that was some sort of a secret message that incoming president, obviously he was incoming at the time, Obama, when he said we're just 120 some odd days away from fundamentally transforming America. Was this another case, in your opinion, of them telling us what they're going to do?
Absolutely.
Disguised as some sort of a little cutesy thing, but actually it was quite serious, far more serious than we thought.
Absolutely. I'm personally convinced anywhere you hear the word transform today in politics or in major economic circles, look out. That's when you want to reach for your wallet. Hold on tight. Because you're about to be fleeced.
Connect your lanyard.
That's right. Yeah. I know the bikers have it right with the chain lanyards fastened to their wallet.
You read my mind. The big chain.
I know. Let's hope they don't become handcuffs.
Oh, that's good.
So starting with the history of technocracy is important, and I put the base out of a topic of philosophy called scientism. And scientism is literally the worship of science. We'll see how this works a little bit later, but the father of technocracy, undisputed, was a French philosopher that lived between 1760 and 1825. His name is Henri de Saint-Simon. And he wrote the following. Back then, okay, this was in somewhere around 1820. He wrote, and I quote, "A scientist, my dear friends, is a man who foresees. It is because science provides the means to predict that it is useful, and scientists are superior to all other men." Well, let's look at that just for a second. I take exception with the fact that, or the suggestion that scientists are superior to all other men. Yes. Last time I looked, we all put our pants on the same way. So I reject that. But I also reject the fact that a scientist, much less any group of scientists, are able to foresee or to predict the future. This is ridiculous. Nobody has ever been able to predict the future, not with great accuracy in any case. Certainly we can read trends and we can extrapolate trends, but that is not the same as predicting the future. So this whole business of technocracy got off on the wrong foot, in my estimation, way back in those days, where scientists were elevated to a position of priesthood.
Yeah, talk about Dr. Feelgood.
That's right. And
seriously, so a serious infusion of hubris.
Yes. So you have the oracle of science, if you will, and then you have the scientists who are the only ones allowed to approach the oracle of science to get today's reading, or today's whatever doctrine, right?
Yes.
And then the scientists come down from the mountain and they tell the rest of us less than superior men,
of course,
what science said and what we have to do about it.
What science said.
That's right. So you hear this in the news today. I just read several articles, headlines yesterday. I was on a leading business website. There was at least 3 or 4 headlines that had been scratched. That means when you create a headline, in newspaper terms, you call it scratching a headline. There were several headlines that somebody had made that started out literally with the phrase, "science says," and then it filled in the blanks.
Yes.
And it just struck me, thinking about this, science says. Who says science? How can science speak?
Who's this guy, Science? Who is he?
Yeah, who is this guy, Science, and where does he live? I want to go visit him. It's ridiculous. Science does not speak, yet people are looking at science as if it's somehow intelligent life, and the priesthood, the scientists and engineers, are the only ones allowed to approach science to understand what science is saying to the rest of humanity. And so if it's climate change, for instance, and nobody understands climate change, but the scientists, and Al Gore too, he does, of course, he says
Absolutely.
he does. But, they take the topic of, well, climate change says you need to do, science, it says you need to dump your wood-burning stove. You need to get rid of that stove. It's selfish to burn lumber and pollute the, pollute wood and stuff and pollute the atmosphere with your wood stove. And so the EPA just the other day is announced it's going to initiate some new rules that will limit, if not outlaw, many types of wood stoves in America. This is insanity. But it's all based on the idea that, well, climate change science says this is what we need to do. And so they come down and they proclaim their little, priestly message to us and expect us to follow it with some kind of blind faith. Like, well, oh gosh, you're smarter than me, man. You must know. So I guess I better do that. I'll throw my scrap iron wood stove out the back door and I'll get myself a new solar heater or something.
Yes.
I guess it only works at night or in the daytime when the sun's out, when I don't need to be heated. But that's another issue. So anyway, scientism is at the base of technocracy. It's at the base of transhumanism as well. This is the common thread between both of them. And this is the underlying philosophy that we see throughout. So let me tell you, just give you some highlights again on what scientism is or isn't. It's the application of the scientific method to social and political modeling. This is what they've done. Science met sociology back in the 1930s. It was a bad meeting, by the way. Number two, science is the absolute and only access to truth and reality about man and the universe. They really believe that. If truth has not been discovered through science and the scientific method, it does not exist. They actually believe this. Number three, is specifically opposed to the Bible as truth. It completely rejects that thought. It believes there is no God because it's heavily embedded in Darwin's, Darwinian theory. So it's essentially atheistic. At the best, you could call it humanistic, but it is definitely excludes God. And it's predictive. That this is what they believe. I'm not saying it, but it's predictive and able to foretell the future. And it rejects any inquiry that does not agree. This is another specific thing that's important to realize. If you disagree with these people, like Al Gore just came out yesterday with an article. I clipped it and I put it up several places. He said, the climate deniers, that would be me. I'm not the chief of them, but I'm certainly in the group. The climate deniers, as he calls them, that disagree with his view of climate change, need to be punished. He used that exact word, John.
Yes, I was ugly to him. I referred to him as a blimp of pus, which is that terminology is beneath me normally, except when it comes to Albert Gore, whom I loathe on virtually every level. So anyway.
Yeah, right. And scientism also demands acceptance by non-scientists. This is another little flaw. It does not say, "Oh, this is optional." You can believe in climate change or not if you choose. That might be a reasonable thing for somebody to say, but no. People like Al Gore say, if you don't believe in climate change, you are, number one, a denier, and number two, you deserve to be punished for your ignorant beliefs.
I mean, what sort of a personality would even allow itself to make an expression like that in public?
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, this is very disturbing, but this is an attitude, John, that runs throughout these technocrat minds.
I take it Ray Kurzweil may be a member of the Trilateral Commission as well. Is that too much of a stretch?
No, you're very close. Ray Kurzweil, for your listeners, if they don't know, is he's leading the charge for transhumanism right now. He's the senior scientist for for Google. He did not need a job, by the way. When he took that job, it wasn't because he needed money. He had money, he had patents. The guy's a genius. He took the job because he got the resources of Google to go along with it. And Google wants to take over the world. Well, Eric Schmidt, the chairman of Google, is a member of the Trilateral Commission.
Oh, perfect. Just one guy down. All right.
They just raise it up a level, right? And of course, Ray is right there behind him, feeding him with all of his, singularity / transhuman thoughts that we're all going to be immortal by 2045. Well, that's a misnomer. Ray is going to be immortal at 2045. The rest of us are going to have to pay if we have any money left.
Yeah, he gets it for free.
We can pay big bucks, but the rest of the world, they're not going to give that technology away. Honestly, they're never going to get there. I'm just virtually certain of it. But they really believe that they are. I think they're deceived. I think their science has deceived them. I won't justify that at this point, but you'll see maybe as we go along, why I say that. But it is important to note that scientism has a priesthood. And both St. Simon and his number one disciple, Auguste Comte, promoted a priesthood of scientists and engineers to administer and administrate science upon society. They both did. They wrote openly about it. So the bottom line is basically scientism becomes a religion. It worships science and the scientific method exclusive of other competing religions, and it predicts the future that requires a priesthood to declare its truth to the ignorant masses. Now, we've seen this played out just a few times in history with other religions, and this is a very dangerous precedent to be set, to mix religion with science and society, but here we are, right? So if you look at scientism's priesthood, I share a cartoon where a guy is the priest, if you will, is holding up the earth, and the earth is on fire, and he says the priest is declaring to the people, repent, reuse, recycle, lest ye burn. And the people are bowed down before the priest, prostrate on the ground, and they're saying, praise the globe, praise the globe.
This is a funny cartoon. I mean, but the problem here that I see is that we laugh because it's funny, but we also laugh because it's true. And my question, just as I never realized, Patrick, that I think I must have been a yippie. I was never a hippie. I thought that was a loathsome label. Yippie had a little bit more panache. Radical. Well, my question is, why are these people bowing down? Why is there no yippie standing up, displaying one of his digits to this high priest of sustainability? I guess that would be it. I mean, why are people going along with this? Because they are going along with it.
Yes, they are.
Or we'll get to that later, I guess.
Yes, we will. And a great part of it is ignorance, of course. They don't see the scam that's being laid on them. Most people that get involved in some kind of a scam, where somebody calls your house or they send you an email and you get suckered into it and you think, oh man, I got to help this guy or whatever. People are ignorant, and that doesn't mean they're stupid necessarily. It's just that they're ignorant. And when a scam is being played on you personally, and one day somebody comes to you and says, hey, what I see that going on, somebody's trying to scam you in this. Once you become aware of it, you shut the email down and you hang up the phone. It's like, I'm done with that. Now that I see that I'm being scammed, I'm done. I believe that as more people understand that they're being scammed by these people, that they will just stand up and say, hey, I'm done with this. We're not playing this game anymore with you guys. So, but we'll see. I can't predict the future either. So, but I have a little more faith in the American public or American citizenry that they still have enough intelligence left to think through some of these issues and reject it. And if we don't reject it, all I can say is God help us all. We're in big trouble. So let me get into technocracy a little bit. And